Hi and good evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I am Buddham. Now the latest headlines from world channels and news agencies.
Purported leak.
Her singing Silent Night.
Monday 7:30 on ABC.
Budget strains, growing deficits, a weakening economy and increased spending pressure. Alan Jones facing 8 new indecent assault charges and declares his innocence outside court.
These allegations are all either baseless or they distort the truth.
The death toll rising in Vanuatu after a second powerful quake rocks the island nation. And the rain-plagued cricket test between Australia and India ends in a draw. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Joe O'Brien. The government has forecast bigger deficits over the next 4 years, blaming spending pressures and a weakening economy. Treasurer Jim Chalmers has delivered his...
Tonight, the new murder and terrorism charges against the suspect in the killing of that top CEO. Luigi Mangione now indicted in New York on charges including first-degree murder in furtherance of terrorism.
As an act of terrorism.
Prosecutors laying out their most detailed timeline yet in the case. And new reporting could be shot and a classmate at Wisconsin school. What investigators are saying about the possible motive. The FBI receiving more than 5,000 tips about mystery drones, what the White House is saying as the sightings leave millions on edge. The major New Orleans bridge shut down after multiple crashes and fog involving more than 50 cars. The suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer now charged in the murder of a 7th woman. Ukraine claiming responsibility for the assassination of a top Russian general. The blast caught on camera, the device hidden inside an electric scooter. Our exclusive inside the dramatic raid on counterfeit weight loss drugs. And the mystery mailbox popping up around a major city, delivering emotional connections with anonymous letters.
This is NBC Nightly News with
Tonight, there is breaking news on the air involving CEO murder suspect Luigi Mangione. Just in tonight, a New York jury has now indicted on and second-degree murder charges for murder, quote, in furtherance of terrorism. The DA tonight saying this was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder with the intent to cause terror. And we've now learned how soon Mangione could be brought to New York. Aaron Katursky standing by with new reporting. Also tonight, this is the image of the 15-year-old girl who police say killed a teacher and a fellow student when she walked into a study hall at her school. Tonight, what they're now saying about motive. Mystery drones tonight, what the Pentagon is now saying about this and what they've now deployed tonight. And lawmakers emerging from a 3-hour classified House intelligence briefing and what they said afterward. In New York City, the accused Long Island serial killer, I am not guilty of any of these charges. Tonight, he is now charged with the murder of a 7th woman. You'll see the scene in court. The stunning new images emerging after Ukraine assassinated a top Russian general in a bomb attack in Moscow. Tonight, the images of the scooter at the door. You'll see it right here and how they did this and what Russia thinks. Living new on the U.S. America, and there's from oil to hockey sticks Tonight, how to get a piece of your favorite team.
From ABC News, World News in New York.
On this night, the growing calls to step down. The Prime Minister under pressure, his own MPs divided.
The Prime Minister is living in a false reality.
Plus new details about what led to Freeland's resignation. Trump's tariff threats get results. Ottawa unveils Canada's new billion-dollar border plan.
It's an important step to show that we share their concern around border security.
But will it be enough to appease the incoming U.S. president? Plus, you've got thousands of postal workers are back to work for the first time in weeks.
There's many packages stuck here.
What this massive backlog means for your mail.
It's going to take some time.
Global National, Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Jeff Spall.
Of interest rates later on today. And while inflation has ticked down, it's still a percentage higher since President Biden came into office, as you can see right there. Here to discuss is personal finance expert Dave Ramsey. Dave, good morning to you.
Good morning. Merry Christmas, Steve.
Merry Christmas to you as well. We're going to talk about Christmas gifts and stuff like that in a minute. But, you know, it will kind of be a little Christmas gift from the Fed if they do cut interest rates. But when you look at the numbers over the last year or so, actually during Joe Biden's term, the cost of pretty much everything is up at least 20%.
Yeah, it is. And so, you know, when you go up 20% and then you come down, you're still higher.
Right.
That's the way the math works on this. So even though we're only up 2% right now in the inflation rate, it's a 2% over a bigger number than we had before. So it's a problem. But, you know, good news is people are starting to adjust. We seem to be heading in the right direction. The sun will come out tomorrow. It looks like Q1, Q2 next year are going to be a wonderful time in the economy.
Well, during the first quarter and the second quarter, people in the United States will still be paying off the amounts of money that they are spending right now for Christmas. And in fact, the average American is going to spend over $2,000 this Christmas season on all this stuff. And the parents are expected to spend $461 per child. And here's the thing, Dave, when you look at that number right here, there are still a lot of Americans who are still paying off what they spent last Christmas to.
Headline news. Two Malaysians linked to the 2002 Bali bombings that killed more than 200 people have been repatriated from the Guantanamo Bay prison in Cuba after nearly 20 years in U.S. custody. Muhammad Farik bin Amin and Muhammad bin Lev Malaysian police confirms receiving the pair, saying both men are in good health. Will undergo assessment and a rehabilitation program before rejoining society. Their release is part of U.S. President Joe Biden's plan to shut down Guantanamo Bay. The facility, which once held nearly 800 prisoners, now houses only 27. Filipino death row prisoner Mary Jane Veloso returns to Manila after in Indonesia. The 9-year-old guilty trial 20 after found 6 of heroin. The mother of 2 was transported to a women's correctional facility after arriving in Manila. Veloso, who maintains innocence, was repatriated in years of negotiations and a 2023 resolution team urging the government to grant a pardon so she can be reunited with her family for Christmas. Russia says it has detained a suspect in the killing of Igor Kirillov, the head of its army's chemical weapons division. Kirillov and his aide were killed in a blast in Moscow on Tuesday, which investigators claim was orchestrated by Ukrainians. The suspect, an Uzbek man, has allegedly confessed, saying he was promised $100,000 for the attack. On the battlefront, North Korean troops fighting in Russia's Kursk region have reportedly suffered several hundred casualties. Pyongyang has deployed thousands to bolster this war effort, but analysts say the troops lack combat experience. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet NATO chief Mark Rutte and key European leaders in Brussels to secure more military aid and air defense systems as Russian offensives intensify. From the CNN newsroom.
Hello, watching France 24. Coming up after hard time. Sarkozy still claiming his innocence in a case where a judge was offered a promotion in exchange for with another Russian case. Russia and Uzbekistan confesses to working with Ukraine on Tuesday's assassination of a top general in Moscow. Meanwhile, NATO allies huddle on how to beef up support for Kyiv ahead of Donald Trump's return to office. We'll cross live to Dave Keating in Brussels. The occupation of the Golan Heights is a violation of international law, as Germany's foreign minister. This after Israel's prime minister that his could remain on the side of Mount Hermon until another enforcement is found. In the next hour, the France 24 debate an act of audacity or desperation. The killing of the Russian general in charge of chemical weapons for Vladimir Putin as Kyiv scrambles with allies ahead of the return of Donald Trump. Trump, who wants to force a sit-down and a deal on day one. Ukraine on the back foot. So is Vladimir Putin, though, with setbacks in Syria and allegations of heavy losses, particularly among North Korean reinforcements fighting Ukraine. How will he spin it when he meets the press on Thursday? Your reactions on the hashtag F24debate. Hello, everyone. I'm François Gare.
Emergency services in Liberia responded to a fire at the Parliament building in Monrovia on Wednesday. Its opposition-led protest stretched into a second day. Authorities are in the President Joseph Boakai visited the scene, condemned the wanton destruction and ordered an investigation. The post if the speaker over on Tuesday, police arrested dozens of protesters and used tear gas to disperse the crowds. Local media reported that suspects were detained near Parliament during the latest fire, though officials have not linked the arrest to the incident.
On the second day of his visit to the Central African Republic, UN peacekeeping chief Jean-Pierre Lacroix met with the country's Prime Minister Félix Molua to discuss what was left to be done in the country. The humanitarian and security situation has worsened since March amid clashes between armed groups.
We took
stock of a number of important advances, notably in the redeployment of urges continued protection and support for Syrians in outside the country. In the past 3 weeks, the organization has seen more than 1 million people forced to flee their homes. Thousands.
Pop star and fashion designer Pharrell Williams was named UNESCO's Goodwill Ambassador for Artistic Education and Entrepreneurship on Tuesday in Paris. Williams said he would focus his efforts on elevating marginalized communities and voices.
We're at a crisis as a species. We are so divided. And I love and respect the older folks, but I'm not betting on them. I'm betting on the youth. I'm betting on the kids. I'm betting on all the people who have been marginalized for so long, generationally, to stand up, band together, and realize that we're so much stronger when we pull together.
The role of Goodwill Ambassador for UNESCO involves promoting its initiatives that include protecting indigenous cultures, advancing education, and raising awareness about genocide prevention. The UN agency said Williams would be a mentor and role model for young creators.
We are looking very much forward to having him on our side. Many occasions will be fit for that. International Jazz Day or mentorat programs around the world, or programs to support artists, or programs for the youth, and especially in Africa, which is, as you know, a priority also for UNESCO.
Williams has been particularly visible in Paris this year. Shortly before the Olympics, his role as Louis Vuitton menswear designer took center stage. He was also a performer at the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral earlier this month.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Austin. This is the News Hour. 60 minutes of news, analysis and interviews. We begin right now with the top stories this hour. Jail for the driver who inhaled laughing gas at the wheel, killing his 3 teenage passengers in a high-speed crash. The victims' families say they've been united by grief and hope the sentence will serve as a deterrent to others.
Can't understand why he made the decision he made. That's the main thing I can't come to terms with.
Have you betrayed the Waspy Women, Prime Minister?
Sir Keir Starmer under pressure to give MPs a vote on the government decision not to compensate the so-called Waspy Women.
I'm afraid to say the taxpayer simply can't afford the tens of billions of pounds in compensation when the evidence does show that 90% of those impacted did know about it.
Also, the teenager charged with murdering 3 girls at a dance class in Southport pleads not guilty. France awaits 51 verdicts in the Giselle Pellico mass rape trial, a case that shocked.
Thank you for sparing your precious time. This is Amir Shakil. Have a good life. Bye-bye.